Hey everyone, the very kind people at Berean Standard Bible sent me some copies of the Berean Standard Bible second edition for review. And they sent me a few different colors and cover options that are available: hardcover, bonded leather, and this is the really nice genuine leather. So in the second edition, they have really quite a variety of options. The first edition was called the Berean Study Bible, and it was a larger Bible, heftier, has more of a utilitarian look to it. So the newer Bibles are smaller, a little bit more manageable, and there are more variety of cover options, which is really great. And so we're going to take a look at these in this video. Okay, I have them lined up here from the least expensive to the most expensive. This is a black hardcover, this is a white bonded leather, and this is a brown genuine leather. The hardcover you can get for about $25 on their website. The bonded leather you can get for about $50, and the genuine leather is about $90. And they also have different color options for each of these editions. So we'll start with the least expensive one, the hardcover, show you some of the features here. It has a really nice look. It reminds me a lot of what you see with a lot of pew Bibles. It's a very sturdy kind of a cover with a nice coating on it. Has a nice texture to it, so it's easy to grip. And you see the gold stamp on the spine. Looks really nice, the gold stamping. It also has white page edges and a yellow, looks like, yeah, a yellow head and tail band and a yellow gold ribbon, kind of a wider ribbon, angle cut, and it is a single-sided ribbon. The page edges are square cut on the hardcover edition. So it's pretty typical for what you will see in a lot of hardcover Bibles. The measurements on this, and they're all going to be very similar with this second edition, is going to be 8 3/4 inches by about 6.5 inches by about 1 3/8 inches. So smaller than the first edition, and then I'll compare that later in the video. I'll show you a first edition in comparison with one of these. But I would say still the form factor of these is a little bit different than what you get with a lot of Bibles. So as you can see when I open that up, it's kind of a wider form factor. But the nice thing, as you can see with the layout here, that does allow for, even with double columns, these columns are still pretty wide and you get a good amount of words per column. And you even have a little bit of margin, not so much for writing a lot, but you can if you need to. But it definitely adds more room, breathing space to the text. And as you can see, it has nice line spacing too. It is a 9.5 Cambria font. And since we're in here, I'll show you some of the other things. You do see quite a few translator notes. That's one thing I really like about the Berean Standard Bible. There are a lot of footnotes that I think seem to be really good, even talking about the textual bases for what you're looking at in the text and some of the variations of what you'll read in different textual bases. So good footnotes. The line spacing, as I said, is really good. Easy to find the verse numbers. They're bold. They have headings for different sections. Poetry. Now, I don't think this is line matched, but it is a 39 GSM paper with all of these. So the paper is quite opaque. It's really quite a nice paper, actually. So that's the hardcover. The bonded leather is not the highest quality leather. Really, they just take different pieces of leather, scraps of leather, and they bind them together into this material. So it's not considered a genuine leather. But as I said, it's not as expensive as the genuine leather. It's about $50. So if you want something that looks like leather, but not as expensive as the genuine leather, this is an option. And I like that they sent me the white one because that's not something you typically see. So you can really see the gold on the spine. It really stands out because it's against the white background there. And that looks really, really pretty. And then you see with this, it does have these little raised spine hubs and a bit of a rounded spine. Not too rounded. I would say the text block really is not rounded, but the spine is a little bit. By the way, I forgot to mention, along with all of these, they also have just the book block available. If you just want the paper book block and send it off to a rebinder to put your own cover on it, that's another option. And that also costs $25, which is the same price as the hardcover. That's one other option you have with the second edition. But back to the bonded leather here, it is perimeter stitched. And it has the yellow head and tail bands. And this one has 3 ribbons, but they are less wide. They're more narrow than what we saw with the hardcover. However, you get 3 of them, and they are double-sided, angle cut. Nice gold ribbons. And you also have gold gilt page edges. They did a really good job with the gold. Very shiny, bright. Has even, I think, a little bit of a sparkle in it at some angles, maybe. And again, it's going to be similar when you look inside these Bibles as far as the paper. It's a 39 GSM paper with all of these. Layout is what you saw before. And I should also mention in the New Testament, it is a black letter text for the words of Christ. So you're going to have real consistency there. And you'll also notice that they have some cross-references for the passages that you're reading in certain places. So stories that you're reading or things that you're reading in the New Testament, sometimes they'll refer to other places in the New Testament or the Old Testament that correlate with what you're reading. So that's a nice feature. One thing I notice here too is that each book of the Bible starts on a new page. However, I was noticing that there is no title page for the New Testament. So let me get there. As you can see, Malachi ends here, and then you go right into Matthew. When you look at the contents page too, it doesn't actually say Old and New Testament. All the books are there, but I notice it doesn't distinguish in any overt way that you're reading the Old Testament here and the New Testament here. It just separates them by a space. Doesn't label them. And at the beginning of the Bible, you don't have an Old Testament title page. So I'm not sure why that is, but I just thought I'd point that out, something that I noticed. Here's the copyright information. And I have talked about this on another video. This is actually a tiered system of Bible translations that are all under the heading of Berean Bible. So you have a literal version, an interlinear Bible. You have this standard Bible. It used to be called the Study Bible. And it's kind of like their ecosystem of Bible translations that complement each other. So you can go to the website and look at all of that online. That is available. Also, another great thing about this people have talked about, it's one reason people are so excited, is because they have a very generous policy when it comes to your use of this translation. They really try to make it available for ministry and not have strict licensing policies. So they have a very free licensing policy, very generous. So you can make copies of their translation, maybe up to like 200 copies for your ministry. So you can read about that and learn what the actual policy is, but they are very, very generous about licensing their translation. All right, so there's the front material. Then you get into the Bible here. And again, really like the amount of footnotes that I'm seeing. There's not a ton of options. I really feel like this is a small-scale operation, but they are increasing the amount of options that they're making available. And what they are putting out, I think if we go back here, it is printed in the USA. I think what they're putting out is really pretty good quality for the size of the operation that they're running. It's really quite impressive, and they really are trying to make strides forward. And you can see with this edition here, the hardcover as well, those are some good options. Now, if you're willing to pay more money, you can get the genuine leather, and this is absolutely beautiful looking. This is the brown color. I think they call it Merlot, but it is a brown color. Has a very nice grain to it. It is perimeter stitched, and you have those raised spine hubs. I don't know if they're exactly raised. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but they're definitely tooled. And so they do kind of stand out a little bit, but not technically raised, I guess. And then the gold stamping looks really good. And then on the page edges, again, you have gold gilt for all of the bonded leather, genuine leather editions, and 3 angle cut ribbons, double-sided, gold, that go nicely with this color scheme, and the yellow head and tail bands. And all of them, as I said, have this coated, shiny gold yellow color liner, paper liner. I would like to see, especially in these higher end editions, something more like a vinyl paste down, if they're going to have a paste down. That being said, it's a little bit better quality paper than I've seen in some Bibles, and I think it'll hold up pretty well. These are all Smith sewn, I believe, or Smythe sewn. Text binding, so they should hold up well as far as the text block goes. Here's a look at the title page. And we looked before at the copyright, table of contents. At the end of the Bible, after Revelation, you also have a table of weights and measures. But that's it. There's no concordance, no line pages or maps or anything like that. It's really just the table of weights and measures and the end of the Bible. So they are really, I think, increasing their quality and making strides forward in what they're offering. It would be good to see in future editions maybe some maps and a concordance in the back of the Bibles. I know that's what a lot of other translations offer. But really, what they are offering here, as far as I'm concerned, is very useful. I really like a good text Bible. That's the most important thing to me, is that it's something I can carry with me and it be readable. And if I'm going to have any feature in a Bible along with the text, I like good footnotes. And that's what I'm seeing in this Bible. If you want to learn more about the translation, again, I've done a video on it, and you can learn more about the Berean Standard Bible. I did say I would compare these, by the way, to the first edition, so let me do that. It was originally called the Berean Study Bible, but that was confusing because it's not technically a study Bible. It's just the tier of their translation ecosystem where you have more of a readable translation with some extra helps with the footnotes and like cross references in the New Testament. So I guess that's why they called it Study Bible, because it's more for reading and study. But it's not technically a study Bible. So now you're going to see, as we saw before, Berean Standard Bible. The other thing you'll notice is this one is definitely larger than these Bibles in the second edition. And so if I open this up, you can see this new one is significantly easier to manage. And actually, I believe the font size is just 1 point lower. So this might have been a 10.5, and this is a 9.5. So really similar, actually. Not too much of a difference. But yes, if you want to get the first edition, it is actually a little bit larger font. And if you prefer this size of a Bible, you don't mind it being larger, that is another option. So as you can see, there are some really nice options now. It's great to see the Berean Standard Bible stepping up its game and making these very nice various editions available in different cover options, and even the text option where if you want to get it rebound yourself, you can do that. They're doing a great job. It's good to see the effort they're putting into these projects. I know the fans of the Berean Standard Bible are very excited about this. If you have any questions or comments about the Bibles that we looked at in this video, feel free to leave that in the comment section. But thank you so much for taking a look at these with me from A Frisch Perspective.